Welcome, Wapham crew, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, those of you who may be listening out there beyond the omniverse tonight. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high. Get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. Today is Sunday, July 21st, Monday, July 22nd, for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. If you're listening live right now, you may be listening to us on Spreaker under We Are Paradox Media. You can also listen to us live on KPNL Radio, which you can find at kpnlradio@kpnl-db.com, as well as eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio. If you'd like to watch as well as listen, just tune in to us on Facebook under We Are Paradox Media and YouTube under We Are Paradox Media and Twitch. We actually got that to get up and running last night. And I just wanted to apologize to my Spreaker crew again. I'm so sorry that I did not hit the button for you to be able to hear what was happening last night, and that really sucked. But yeah, go on over to YouTube or wherever else you listen to your podcasts, and actually, yeah, I believe YouTube is the best place to be able to hear that because we weren't muted over there. So yeah, that was unfortunate. And Twitch for some reason does not retain the videos that I do. I don't know why. I don't know if I have to do so many before they do. But that's pretty odd. Anywho, I'm your host, TessaTNT, and unfortunately, our guest, Dr. Christopher Macklin, was sick today, so we won't be having him on the show. But we'll be doing story time with me, TessaTNT, and we're going to get back into this book. So, this is Douglas Adams' The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. It's been pretty good so far. We only have just a little bit left there. So, we're trucking along pretty well, I must say. It's all muggy here today. It's like, what the crack is going on? Chapter 26. That night, the ship crash-landed onto an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet, which circled a small, unregarded yellow sun and the charted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy. In the hours preceding the crash, Ford Prefect had fought furiously but in vain to unlock the controls of the ship from their preordained flight path. It had quickly become apparent to him that the ship had been programmed to convey its payload safely, if uncomfortably, to its new home, but to cripple itself beyond all hope of repair in the process. Its screaming, blazing descent through the atmosphere had stripped away most of the superstructure and outer shielding, and its final inglorious belly flop into a murky swamp had left its crew only a few hours of darkness, during which to revive and offload its deep-frozen and unwanted cargo, for the ship began to settle almost at once, slowly upending its gigantic bulk in the stagnant slime. Yummy. Once or twice during the night, it was starkly silhouetted against the sky as burning meteors. The detritus of its descent flashed across the sky. To the gray pre-dawn light, it let out an obscene, roaring gurgle and sank forever into the sinking depths. When the sun came up that morning, it shed its thin watery light over a vast area heaving with wailing hairdressers, public relations executives, opinion posters, and the rest, all clawing their way desperately to dry land. A less strong-minded sun would probably have gone straight back down again, but oh no. Man, I'm gonna have to do that again. Sorry, guys. I should remember to do that before the shows, but alas, I can't remember everything. I'm just gonna have to mute this for an hour or so. I hate to do that, but I don't really have any other options because I don't want it to keep ringing during the show and disturbing. Let's go ahead and say 8 hours because 1 hour is just not enough. All right. My apologies. Oh man. Now this book is coming apart. Where will we? So let's begin again at the top of this paragraph. The less strong-minded sun would probably have gone straight back down again, but it continued to climb its way through the sky, and after a while, the influence of its warming rays began to have some restoring effect on the feebly struggling creatures. Countless numbers had unsurprisingly been lost to the swamp in the night, and millions more had been sucked down with the ship, but those who did survive still numbered hundreds of thousands, and as the day wore on, they crawled out over the surrounding countryside, each looking for a few square feet of solid ground on which to collapse and recover from their nightmare ordeal. Two figures moved farther afield. From a nearby hillside, Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent watched the horror of which they could not feel a part. "Filthy, dirty trick to pull," muttered Arthur. Ford scraped a stick along the ground and shrugged. "An imaginative solution to a problem, I'd have thought," he said. "Why can't people just learn to live together in peace and harmony?" said Arthur. Ford gave a loud and very hollow laugh. 42, he said, with a malicious grin. "Nope, doesn't work. Never mind." Arthur looked at him as if he'd gone mad, and seeing nothing to indicate the contrary, realized that it would be perfectly reasonable to assume that this had in fact happened. "What do you think will happen to them all?" he said after a while. "In an infinite universe, anything can happen," said Ford. "Even survival, strange but true." A curious look came into his eyes as they passed over the landscape and then settled again on the scene of misery below them. "I think they'll manage for a while," he said. Arthur looked up sharply. "Why do you say that?" he said. Ford shrugged. "Just a hunch," he said, and refused to be drawn on any further questions. "Look," he said suddenly. Arthur followed his pointing finger. Down among the sprawling masses, a figure was moving. Perhaps lurching would be a more accurate description. He appeared to be carrying something on his shoulder. As he lurched from prostrate form to prostrate form, he seemed to wave whatever the something was at them in a drunken fashion. After a while, he gave up the struggle and collapsed in a heap. Arthur had no idea what this meant, or would mean to him. "Movie camera," said Ford, recording the historic moment. "Well, I don't know about you," said Ford again after a moment, "but I'm off." He sat a while in silence. After a while, this seemed to require a comment. When you say you're off, what do you mean exactly?" said Arthur. "Good question," said Ford. "I'm getting a total silence." Looking over his shoulder, Arthur saw that he was twiddling with knobs on a small black box. Ford had already introduced this box to Arthur as a sub-ethos sensomatic, but Arthur had merely nodded absently and not pursued the matter. In his mind, the universe still divided into two parts, the Earth and everything else. The Earth having been demolished to make way for a hyperspace bypass meant that this view of things was a little lopsided, but Arthur tended to cling to the lopsidedness as being his last remaining contact with his home. Sorry guys, I'm sweaty. It's so muggy here today. I appreciate the rain, but not the mugginess. Sub-ethos sensomatics belong firmly in the everything else category. "Not a sausage," said Ford, shaking the thing. "Sausage?" thought Arthur to himself as he gazed listlessly at the primitive world around him. "What I wouldn't give for a good earth sausage." Would you believe, said Ford in exasperation, that there are no transmissions of any kind within light years of this united tip? Are you listening to me? What? Said Arthur. We're in trouble, said Ford. Oh, said Arthur. This sounded like month-old news to him. Until we pick up anything on this machine, said Ford, our chances of getting off this planet are 0. It may be some freak standing wave effect in the planet's magnetic field, in which case we just travel round and round till we find a clear reception area. Coming? He picked up his gear and strode off. Arthur looked down the hill. The man with the movie camera had struggled back up to his feet just in time to film one of his colleagues collapsing. Arthur picked a blade of grass and strode after Ford. Chapter 27. I trust you had a pleasant meal, said Zarniwoop to Zaphod and Trillian as they rematerialized on the bridge of the starship Heart of Gold and lay panting on the floor. Zaphod opened some eyes and glowered at him. Yahoo, he spat. He staggered to his feet and stomped off to find a chair to slump into. He found one and slumped into it. I have programmed the computer with the improbability coordinates pertinent to our journey, said Zarniwoop. We will arrive there very shortly. Meanwhile, relax and prepare yourself for the meeting. Zaphod said nothing, which is really odd. He got up again and marched over to a small cabinet from which he pulled a bottle of Old Jank's spirit. He took a long pull at it, and when this is all done, said Zaphod savagely, it's done, all right. I'm free to go and do what the hell I like and lie on beaches and stuff. No, it depends what transpires from the meeting, said Zarniwoop. Zaphod, who is this man? Said Trillian shakily, wobbling to her feet. What's he doing here? Why is he on our ship? He's a very stupid man, said Zaphod. He wants to meet the man who rules the universe. Ah, said Trillian, taking the bottle from Zaphod and helping herself. A social climber. Chapter 28. Well, these chapters are quite short. Hello, number one, whoever you are. The major problem, one of the major problems for them, are several. One of the many major problems with governing people is that whom you get to do it, or rather, who manages to get people to let them do it to them. To summarize, it is a well-known fact that those people who must want to rule people are, ipso facto, those least suited to do it. To summarize the summary, anyone who is capable of getting themselves made president should on no account be allowed to do the job. To summarize the summary of the summary, people are a problem. And so this is the situation we find. A succession of galactic presidents who so much enjoy the fun and palaver of being in power that they very rarely notice that they're not. And somewhere in the shadows behind them, who? Who can possibly rule if no one who wants to do it can be allowed to? Chapter 29. Let me just make sure my sound is working. Oh. Well, it appears it is. There I am. Alright. Looks like it's good. In a small obscure world somewhere in the middle of nowhere, in particular, nowhere that is, that could ever be found, since it is protected by a vast field of improbability, to which only 6 men in this galaxy have a key. It was raining, it was bucketing down, and had been for hours. It beat the top of the sea into a mist. It pounded the trees. It churned and slopped a stretch of scrubby land near the sea into the mud bath. The rain pelted and danced on a corrugated iron roof of the small shack that stood in the middle of this patch of scrubby land. It obliterated the small, rough pathway that led from the shack down to the seashore and smashed apart the neat piles of interesting shells which had been placed there. The noise of the rain on the roof of the shack was deafening within, but went largely unnoticed by its occupant, whose attention was otherwise engaged. He was a tall, shambling man with rough, straw-colored hair that was damp from leaking roof. His clothes were shabby, his back was hunched, and his eyes, though open, seemed to be closed. In his shack was an old beaten-up armchair, an old scratch table, and old mattress, some cushions, and a stove that was small but warm. There was also an old and slightly weather-beaten cat, and this was currently the focus of the man's attention. He bent his shabbling form over it. "Pussy, pussy, pussy," he said. "Coochie, coochie, coochie, coo. Pussy want a fish? Nice piece of fish. Pussy want it?" The cat seemed undecided on the matter. It pawed rather condescendingly at the piece of fish the man was holding out, and then got distracted by a piece of dust on the floor. "Pussy not eat his fish? Pussy get done and waste away, I think," said the man. Doubt crept into his voice. "I imagine this is what will happen," he said, "but how can I tell?" He proffered the fish again. "Pussy think," he said, "eat fish or not eat fish? I think it is better if I don't get involved." He sighed. "I think fish is nice, but then I think that the rain is wet, so who am I to judge?" He left the fish on the floor for the cat and retired to his seat. "Ah, I seem to see you eating it," he said at last, as the cat exhausted the entertainment possibilities of the speck of dust and pounced onto the fish. "I like it when I see you eat fish," said the man, "because in my mind, you will waste away if you don't." He picked up from the table a piece of paper and a stub of pencil. He held one in one hand and the other in the other, and experimented with the different ways of bringing them together. He tried holding the pencil under the paper, then over the paper, then next to the paper. He tried wrapping the paper around the pencil. I remember doing that as a kid. He tried rubbing the stubby end of the pencil against the paper, and then he tried rubbing the sharp end of the pencil against the paper. It made a mark, and he was delighted with this discovery, as he was every day. He picked up another piece of paper from the table. This had a crossword on it. He studied it briefly and filled in a couple of clues before losing interest. He tried sitting on one of his hands and was intrigued by the feel of the bones of his hips. "Fish come from far away," he said, "or so I'm told, or so I imagine I'm told. When the men come, or when in my mind the men come, in their 6 black shiny ships, do they come in your mind too? What do you see, pussy?" He looked at the cat, which was more concerned with getting the fish down as rapidly as possible than it was with these speculations. "And when I hear their questions, do you hear questions? What do their voices mean to you? Perhaps you just think they're singing songs to you?" He reflected on this and saw the flaw in the supposition. "Perhaps they are singing songs to you," he said, "and I just think they're asking me questions." He paused again. Sometimes he would pause for days, just to see what it was like. "Do you think they came today?" he said. "I do. There's mud on the floor, cigarettes and whiskey on the table, fish on a plate for you, and a memory of them in my mind. Hardly conclusive evidence, I know, but then all evidence is circumstantial. And look what these things, what else? What else they've left for me?" He reached over to the table and pulled some things off it. Crosswords, dictionaries, and a calculator. He played with the calculator for an hour, while the cat went to sleep and the rain outside continued to pour. Eventually, he put the calculator aside. "I think I must be right in thinking they ask me questions," he said. "To come all the way and leave all these things just for the privilege of singing songs to you would be very strange behavior, or so it seems to me. Who can tell? Who can tell?" From the table, he picked up a cigarette and lit it with a spill from the stove. He inhaled deeply and sat back. "I think I saw another ship in the sky today," he said at last. "A big, huge white one. I've never seen a big white one, just the 6 black ones and the 6 green ones, and the others who say they come from so far away. Never a big white one. Perhaps 6 small black ones can look like one big white one at certain times. Perhaps I would like a glass of whiskey. Yes, that seems more likely. He stood up and found a glass that was lying on the floor by his mattress. He poured in a measure from his whiskey bottle. He sat again. Perhaps some other people are coming to see me, he said. 100 yards away, pelted by the torrential rain, lay the heart of gold. Excuse me. His hatchway opened, and 3 figures emerged, huddling into themselves to keep the rain off their faces. "In there!" shouted Trillian, above the noise of the rain. "Yes," said Zarny Whoop. "That shack?" "Yes." "Weird," said Zaphod. "But it's in the middle of nowhere," said Trillian. "We must have come to the wrong place. You can't rule the universe from a shack." They hurried through the pouring rain and arrived wet at the door. They knocked. They shivered. The door opened. "Hello," said the man. "Ah, excuse me," said Zarnywip. "I have reason to believe. Do you rule the universe?" said Zaphod. The man smiled at him. "I try not to," he said. "Were you wet?" Zaphod looked at him in astonishment. "Wet?" he cried. "Doesn't it look as if we're wet?" "That's how it looks to me," said the man. "But how you feel about it might be an altogether different matter. If you find warmth makes you dry, you better come in." They went in. They looked around the tiny shack. Zarnywip with slight distaste, Trillian with interest, and Zaphod with delight. "Hey, said Zaphod, "what's your name?" The man looked at them doubtfully. "I don't know. Why? Do you think I should have one? It seems very odd to give a bundle of vague sensory perceptions a name." He invited Trillian to sit in the chair. He sat on the edge of the chair. Zarnywip leaned stiffly against the table, and Zaphod lay on the mattress. "Wowee!" said Zaphod. "The seat of power." He tickled the cat. "Listen," said Zarnywip, "I must ask you some questions." "All right," the man said kindly. "You can sing to my cat too, if you like." "Would he like that?" asked Zaphod. "You better ask him," said the man. "Does he talk?" said Zaphod. "I have no memory of him talking," said the man, "but I am very unreliable." Zarnywip pulled some notes out of a pocket. "Now," he said, "you do rule the universe, do you?" "How can I tell?" said the man. Zarnywip ticked off a note on the paper. "How long have you been doing this?" "Ah," said the man. "This is a question about the past, is it?" Zarnywip looked at him in puzzlement. This wasn't exactly what he had been expecting. "Yes," he said. "How can I tell?" said the man. "That the past isn't a fiction designed to account for the discrepancy between my immediate physical sensations and my state of mind." Zarnywip stared at him. The steam began to rise from his sodden clothes. "So you answer all questions like this?" he said. The man answered quickly. "I say what it occurs to me to say when I think I hear people say things. More I cannot say." Zaphod laughed happily. "I'll drink to that," he said, and pulled out the bottle of Jank's spirit. He leaped up and handed the bottle to the ruler of the universe, who took it with pleasure. "Good on you, great ruler," he said. "Tell it like it is." "No, listen to me," said Zarnywip. "People come to you, do they, in ships?" "I think so," said the man. He handed the bottle to Trillian. "And they ask you," said Zarnywip, "to make decisions for them about people's lives, about worlds, about economies, about wars, about everything going on out there in the universe." "Out there?" said the man. "Out where?" "Out there," said Zarnywip, pointing at the door. "How can you tell there's anything out there?" said the man politely. "The door's closed." The rain continued to pound the roof. Inside the shack, it was warm. But you know there's a whole universe out there, cried Zarniwip. You can't dodge your responsibilities by saying they don't exist. The ruler of the universe thought for a long while Zarniwip quivered with anger. You're very sure of your facts, he said at last. We couldn't trust the thinking of a man who takes the universe, if there is one, for granted. Zarniwip still quivered, but was silent. I only decide about my universe, continued the man quietly. My universe is my eyes and my ears. Anything else is hearsay. But don't you believe in anything? The man shrugged and picked up his cat. I don't understand what you mean, he said. You don't understand that what you decide in this shack of yours affects the lives and fates of millions of people. This is all monstrously wrong. I don't know. I've never met all these people you speak of, and neither, I suspect, have you. They only exist in words we hear. It is folly to say you know what is happening to other people. I'm kind of freaked out right now because everybody's gone and I just heard something like brush up against my door. What the heck? Creepy. Alright. Where the heck did I go? I'm sorry, that tripped me out and I was like, what the heck is that noise? We've had a lot of paranormal creepy stuff going on here, so. Okay, I'll just restart on this paragraph. I don't know. I've never met all these people you speak of, and neither, I suspect, have you. They only exist in words we hear. It is folly to say you know what is happening to other people. Only they know. If they exist, they have their own universe of their eyes and ears. Trillian said, I think I'm just popping outside for a moment. She left and walked into the ring. Do you believe other people exist? Insisted Zarniwip. I have no opinion. How can I say? I'd better see what's up with Trillian, said Zaphod, and slipped out. Outside, he said to her, I think the universe is in pretty good hands, yeah? Very good, said Trillian. They walked off into the rain. Inside, Zarniwip continued, But don't you understand that people live or die on your word? The ruler of the universe waited for as long as he could. When he heard the faint sound of the ship's engine starting, he spoke to cover it. It has nothing to do with me, he said. I am not involved with people. The Lord knows I am not a cruel man. Ah, barked Zarniwip. You say the Lord. You believe in something. My cat, said the man benignly, picking it up and stroking it. I call him the Lord. I am kind to him. All right, said Zarniwip, pressing home his point. How do you know he exists? How do you know he knows you to be kind or enjoys what he thinks of as your kindness? I don't, said the man with a smile. I have no idea. It merely pleases me to behave a certain way to what appears to be a cat. Do you behave any differently? Please, I think I am tired. Zarniwip heaved a thoroughly dissatisfied sigh and looked about. Where are the other two? He said suddenly. What other two? Said the ruler of the universe, settling back into his chair and refilling his whiskey glass. Beeblebrox and the girl, the two who were here. I remember no one. The past is a fiction to account for. Stuff it, said Zarniwip, and ran out into the rain. There was no ship. The rain continued to churn the mud. There was no sign to show where the ship had been. He hollered into the rain. He turned and ran back to the shack and found it locked. The ruler of the universe dozed slightly in his chair. After a while, he played with a pencil and paper again and was delighted when he discovered how to make a mark with the one on the other. Various noises continued outside, but he didn't know whether they were real or not. He then talked to his table for a week to see how it would react. It's funny. Chapter 30. The stars came out that night, dazzling in their brilliance and clarity. Ford and Arthur had walked more miles than they had any means of judging and finally stopped to rest. The night was cool and balmy, the air pure, the sub-ether symptomatic, totally silent. A wonderful stillness hung over the world. A magical calm which combined with the soft fragrances of the woods, the quiet chatter of insects, and the brilliant light of the stars to soothe their jangled spirits. Even Ford Prefect, who had seen more worlds than he could count on a long afternoon, was moved to wonder if this was the most beautiful he had ever seen. All that day they had passed through rolling green hills and valleys richly covered with grasses, wild-scented flowers, and tall, thickly-leaved trees. The sun had warmed them, light breezes had kept them cool, and Ford Prefect had checked his sub-ethos Sensomatic at less and less frequent intervals, and had exhibited less and less annoyance at its continued silence. He was beginning to think that he liked it here. Cool though the night air was, they slept soundly and comfortably in the open and awoke a few hours later with the light dewfall, feeling refreshed but hungry. Ford had stuffed some small rolls into his satchel at Millway's, and they breakfasted on these before moving on. So far, they had wandered purely at random, but now they struck out firmly eastward, feeling that if they were going to explore this world, they should have some clear idea of where they had come from and where they were going. Shortly before noon, they had their first indication that the world that they landed on was not uninhabited. A half-glimpsed face amongst the trees, watching them. It vanished at the moment they both saw it, but the image they were both left with was a humanoid creature, curious to see them, but not alarmed. Half an hour later, they glimpsed another such face, and 10 minutes after that, another. A minute later, they stumbled into a wide clearing and stopped short. Before them, in the middle of the clearing, stood a group of about 24 men and women. They stood still and quiet, facing Ford and Arthur. Around some of the women huddled some small children, and behind the group was a ramshackle array of small dwellings made of mud and branches. Ford and Arthur held their breath. The tallest of the men stood little over 5 feet high. They all stopped forward slightly, had longish arms and lowish foreheads and clear bright eyes with which they stared intently at the strangers. Seeing that they carried no weapons and made no move forward and toward them, Ford and Arthur relaxed slightly. For a while, the two groups simply stared at each other, neither side making any move. The natives seemed puzzled by the intruders, and while they showed no sign of aggression, they were quite clearly not issuing any invitations. Nothing happened. For a full 2 minutes, nothing continued to happen. After 2 minutes, Ford decided it was time something happened. "Hello," he said. The women drew their children slightly closer to them. Oh my gosh, that thing just spoke. The men made hardly any discernible move, and yet their whole disposition made it clear that the greeting was not welcome. It was not resented in any great degree. It was just not welcome. One of the men, who had been standing slightly forward of the rest of the group, and who might therefore have been their leader, stepped forward. His face was quiet and calm, almost serene. He said quietly. This caught Arthur by surprise. He had grown so used to receiving an instantaneous and unconscious translation of everything he heard via the babblefish lodged in his ear that he had ceased to be aware of it, and he was only reminded of its presence now by the fact that it didn't seem to be working. Vague shadows of meaning had flickered at the back of his mind, but there was nothing he could get any firm grasp on. He guessed, correctly as it happens, that these people had as yet evolved no more than the barest rudiments of language, and that the babblefish was therefore powerless to help him. He glanced at Ford, who was infinitely more experienced in these matters. "I think," said Ford, out of the corner of his mouth, "he's asking us if we'd mind walking on around the edge of the village." A moment later, a gesture from the man-creature seemed to confirm this. Continued the man-creature. The general gist, said Ford, as far as I can make out, is that we are welcome to continue our journey any way we like, but if we would walk around his village rather than through it, it would make them all very happy. So what do we do? I think we make them happy, said Ford. Slowly and watchfully, they walked around the perimeter of the clearing. This seemed to go down very well with the natives, who bowed to them very slightly and then went about their business. Ford and Arthur continued their journey through the wood. A few hundred yards past the clearing, they suddenly came upon a small pile of fruit lying in their path. Berries that looked remarkably like raspberries and strawberries, and pulpy green-skinned fruit that looked remarkably like pears. So far, they had steered clear of the fruit and berries that they had seen, though the trees and bushes were laden with them. Look at it this way, said Ford Prefect. Fruit and berries on strange planets either make you live or make you die. Therefore, the point at which you start toying with them is when you're going to die if you don't. That way you stay ahead. The secret of healthy hitchhiking is to eat junk food. They looked at the pile that lay in their path with suspicion. It looked so good, they made them almost dizzy with hunger. Look at it this way, said Ford. Yes, said Arthur. I'm trying to think of a way of looking at it which means we get to eat it, said Ford. The leaf-dappled sun gleamed on the plump skins of the things which looked like pears. The things which looked like raspberries and strawberries were fatter and riper than any Arthur had ever seen, even in ice cream commercials. Why don't we eat them and think about it afterward, he said. Maybe that's what they want us to do. All right, look at it this way. Sounds good so far. It's there for us to eat. Either it's good or it's bad. Either they want to feed us or to poison us. If it's poisonous and we don't eat it, they'll just attack us some other way. If we don't eat, we lose out either way. I like the way you think, said Ford. Now eat one. Hesitantly, Arthur picked up one of the things that looked like pears. I always thought that about the Garden of Eden story, said Ford. Garden of Eden tree? Apple? That bit, remember? Yes, of course I do. Your god person puts an apple tree in the middle of the garden and says, do what you like, guys. Oh, but don't eat the apple. Surprise, surprise, they eat it, and he leaps out from behind a bush shouting, wouldn't have made any difference if they hadn't eaten it. Well, why not? Because if you're dealing with somebody who has the sort of mentality which likes leaving hats on the pavement with bricks under them, you know perfectly well that they won't give up. They'll get you in the end. What are you talking about? Never mind, eat the fruit. You know, this place almost looks like the Garden of Eden. Eat the fruit. Sounds quite like it, too. Arthur took a bite from the thing which looked like a pear. It's a pear, he said. A few moments later, when they had eaten the lot, Ford Prefect turned round and called out. Thank you very much, he called. You're very kind. They went on their way. For the next 50 miles of their journey eastward, they kept on finding the occasional gift of fruit lying on their path. And though they once or twice had a quick glimpse of a native man creature among the trees, they never again made direct contact. They decided they rather liked a race of people who made it clear that they were grateful simply by being left alone. The fruit and berries stopped after 50 miles, because that was where the sea started. Having no pressing calls on their time, they built a raft and crossed the sea. It was relatively calm, only about 60 miles wide, and they had a reasonably pleasant crossing, landing in a country that was at least as beautiful as the one that they had left. Life was, in short, ridiculously easy, and for a while at least, they were able to cope with the problems of aimlessness and isolation by deciding to ignore them. When the craving for company became too great, they would know where to find it, but for the moment, they were happy to feel that the Golgafrinchans were hundreds of miles behind them. Nevertheless, Fort Prefect began to use his sub-ethos symptomatic more often again. Only once did he pick up a signal, but that was so faint and from such enormous distance that it depressed him more than the silence that had otherwise continued unbroken. On a whim, they turned northward. After weeks of traveling, they came to another sea, built another raft, and crossed it. This time it was harder going. The climate was getting colder. Arthur suspected a streak of masochism in Ford Prefect. The increasing difficulty of the journey seemed to give him a sense of purpose that was otherwise lacking. He strode onward relentlessly. The journey northward brought them into steep mountainous terrain of breathtaking sweep and beauty. The vast, jagged, snow-covered peaks ravished their senses. The cold began to bite into their bones. They wrapped themselves in animal skins and furs, which Ford Prefect acquired by a technique he once learned from a couple of ex-Pralite monks running a mind-surfing resort in the hills of Huni. The galaxy was littered with ex-Pralite monks, all on the make because the mental control techniques the order have evolved as a form of devotional discipline. Frankly, sensational and extraordinary numbers of monks leave the order just after they have finished their devotional training and just before they take their final vows to stay locked in small metal boxes for the rest of their lives. Well, that sounds fun. Ford's technique seemed to consist mainly of standing still for a while and smiling. After a while, an animal, a deer perhaps, would appear from out of the trees and watch him curiously and cautiously. Ford would continue to smile at it, his eyes would soften and shine, and he would seem to radiate a deep and universal love, a love which reached out to embrace all of creation. A wonderful quietness would descend on the surrounding countryside, peaceful and serene, emanating from this transfigured man. Slowly, the deer would approach, step by step, until it was almost nuzzling him. Whereupon Ford Prefect would reach out to it and break its neck. Pheromone control, he said it was. You just have to know how to generate the right smell. Well, that's interesting. Chapter 31. A few days after landing in this mountainous land, they hit a coastline which swept diagonally before them from the southwest to the northeast, a coastline of monumental grandeur, deep, majestic ravines, soaring pinnacles of ice, fjords. For 2 further days they scrambled and climbed over rocks and glaciers, awestruck with the beauty. "Arthur!" yelled Ford suddenly. It was the afternoon of the second day. Arthur was sitting on a high rock watching the thundering sea smashing itself against the craggy promontories. "Arthur!" yelled Ford again. Arthur looked to where Ford's voice had come from, carried faintly in the wind. Ford had gone to examine a glacier, and Arthur found him there crouching by a solid wall of blue ice. He was tense with excitement. His eyes darted up to meet Arthur's. "Look," he said, "look!" Arthur looked. He saw the solid wall of blue ice. "Yes," he said, it's a glacier. I've already seen it." "No," said Ford. "You've looked at it. You haven't seen it. Look." Ford was pointing deep into the heart of the ice. Arthur peered. He saw nothing but vague shadows. "Move back from it," insisted Ford. "Look again." Arthur moved back and looked again. "No," he said and shrugged. "What am I supposed to be looking for?" And suddenly he saw it. "You see it." He saw it. His mouth started to speak, but his brain decided it hadn't got anything to say yet and shut it again. His brain then started to contend with the problem of what his eyes told it they were looking at. But in doing so, they relinquished control of the mouth, which promptly fell open again. Once more gathering up the jaw, his brain lost control of his left hand, which then wandered around in an aimless fashion. For a second or so, the brain tried to catch the left hand, and without letting go of the mouth, and simultaneously tried to think about what was buried in the eyes, which is probably where the legs went and Arthur dropped restfully to the ground. The thing that had been causing all of this neural upset was a network of shadows in the eyes, about 18 inches beneath the surface. Looked at from the right angle, they resolved into solid shapes of letters from an alien alphabet, each about 3 feet high, and for those like Arthur, who couldn't read Magrathian, there was above the letters the outline of a face hanging in the ice. It was an old face, thin and distinguished, careworn but not unkind. It was the face of the man who had won an award for designing the coastline they now knew themselves to be standing on. Well, we don't have any short chapters coming up just yet, so let's go to our first music break. So on this break, we have Miss Mia Savage with her group, which is basically her. She's like a cute little tiny Trent Reznor. Actually, we're going to listen to her on the second break. So we have Mr. Jeff Hilliard from Los Angeles, California. And if you liked Weird Al Yankovic or the Dr. Demento show, you might like this guy because, I don't know, his stuff is funny. Especially if you have a dark or dirty sense of humor. So the first one is Consensual Sex Man. Second one is Silicone Wave. Third, Cock That Heals. Fourth, Multitude. And then after that, we'll get back to our book. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Do you wanna go for a ride in my consensual sex van? Let me take you far away from all this huff and puff. There will let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Just get in the van. When your life is a never-ending train wreck, and you feel like you're drowning in a sea of regret, with a bit of oppression pressing down on your neck, it hurts so bad. When your overwhelming hatred kills your heart's desire, and reality starts looking like a dumpster fire, you start bitching to me, but you're preaching to the choir. You don't need to be so mad. 'Cause sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world goes completely insane, open your heart, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah, I'll finger bang my day. That's right. You gotta make the choice to give it all you've got, and make your day long with pleasure, really make it hot. Because your day deserves a lover that pulls out the stops. Come on, it's not so hard. 'Cause sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world blows up in our face, what else could we do but stand up and sing? I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah. Finger bang my day. Hey, what are we really doing? We can't live in a world that has this much hate. We have to get honest with ourselves. We have to take stock in what our part is in all of this madness. We have to let go, and we focus on giving love, setting that intention. And each and every single one of us gets up every day with the intention to give love. And we do it. We go out there and we give love every single day. Each one of us gets out there and makes love to our day, giving our day a multiple orgasm. The whole world will be orgasmic for the rest of eternity. Sometimes we hurt, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're sure there's no reason to try. When the whole world is fucking insane, we open our hearts, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Finger bang my day. Finger bang my day. Let's open our hearts, stand up and sing. I'm gonna finger bang my day. Yeah, yeah. Finger bang my day. I just got a package, I can't wait to get home. I spent all day tracking the shipment on my phone. All that she was lacking, I ordered custom. I can't wait to get some, take it to the bedroom. Bitches always nagging, now I got the air. I send the bitches packing, going my way. I have a new attraction, don't care what you say, it's better in every way. Now baby, it's time to play. We're gonna make us a tape and show everyone the way. 'Cause I'm going my way, riding up Silicon Way. I'm on the scene, I'm on the game. With my new real talk, I'm gonna play. Just second rate to
Yes, I'm going back away, riding up Silicon Way. I won't see on the game with my new real dog. I'm gonna play. Just second way to Mount Silicon Way. She is here to stay. She's my new real dog, and it's time to play. With my new real dog, I'm gonna play. She's my new real dog, and it's time to play.
The woman of my dreams.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Fais-moi l'amour.
Je suis amoureux.
Je pense toujours à
Enchanté,
tu es charmant.
ma chérie. Mon
Tu es
frère
charmant.
dans une hostie.
Tu
Ils étaient le nipple.
es charmant. Fais-moi l'amour.
It's like living on a super yacht, making love to a robot. It's like owning a football team, but having sex with a robot. It's like winning an Oscar and Emmy or Grammy when you're fucking a robot. It's like saving a family with a newborn from a fire, but you're fucking a robot.
You're a fool with nothing to offer. No one will ever believe you. They see you for what you are. You're just a fraud, a shell of a person. And now the power of the spirit to penetrate the demons that love you. They enslave you into the dungeon of the hate. You're unstoppable.
I got all the moves, got that multitude. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a multitude. I can do no wrong. Back of the head long, never gonna cut it.
All these hookers sweet on me. Look at them chasing me, showing me that ass. And I bagged up to snatch. I do this shit for free. Go down your mom, count 3. She's taking selfies with the mullet like it's history. How can I maneuver you with that pussy, dude? You sit like Buddha waiting on it to come to you. My lines are straight to the point. She shows me gratitude. So what's your latitude? Let's adjust your attitude. What a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini.
I got all the moves, I got that multitude. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that.
What a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini.
Check these molar moves. You need a multitude. I can do no wrong. Back of the head long, never gonna cut it.
What a alligator, double dually Lamborghini. All up in a silly little yellow polka dot bikini. You're like the butt of a butter knife cutting up panini. So climb back in your kangaroo pouch like a rolling genie. These moves are hot, these locks I got. This power cannot be disputed and it can't be bought. So you can find me in the studio with all these thoughts. You wanna buy my style, but you can't be what you're not, neighbor.
I got all the moves, I got that multitude. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a multitude. I can do no wrong. Back of the head long, never gonna cut it. Got that motherfucking mullet. You wanna touch it?
Yeah. Next time you come around here with your bitch ass, just remember how my mullet makes your hoes pussy drip, drip, drip.
I got molar moves, I got that multitude. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a multitude. I can do no wrong. Back of the head long, never gonna cut it. I got molar moves, I got that multitude. You think it's wrong? Back of the head too long. Fuck that. Check these molar moves. You need a multitude. I can do no wrong. Back of the head long, never gonna cut it. Never gonna cut it. Never gonna cut it.
Drip, drip,
Molar moves. The molar bitch. Molar moves.
drip, drip.
Molar moves. Never gonna cut it.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. We've been reading this book right home. It's been pretty good. by Douglas Adams. It's the second book in the series. It's The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. It's been quite good. I just got a notification, I think it was yesterday, that it's overdue, which is no big surprise. So with that last song, I don't know if you heard it or not, that Mulletitude cracks me up. That's the very first song that Jeff Hilliard had sent me, and I was like, this guy is messing with me. How did he know I had a freaking mullet back in the 80s? My mom made me get a mullet if I wanted to get my ears pierced, so that was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting indeed. Just making sure I got my Spreaker peeps up and going. Alright, let's continue, shall we? Chapter 32. A thin whine filled the air. It whirled and howled through the trees, upsetting the squirrels. A few birds flew off in disgust. Blech. The noise danced and skittered round the clearing. It whooped, it rasped, it generally offended. The captain, however, regarded a lone bagpiper with an indulgent eye. Little could disturb his equanimity. Equanimity? Indeed, once he had got over the loss of his gorgeous bath during the unpleasantness in the swamp, all those months ago he had begun to find his new life remarkably congenial. A hollow had been scooped out of the large rock, which stood in the middle of the clearing, and in this he would bask daily while attendants sloshed water over him. Not particularly warm water, it must be said, as they hadn't yet worked out a way of heating it. Never mind. That would come, and in the meantime, search parties were scouring the countryside far and wide for a hot spring, preferably one in a nice leafy glade. And if it was near a soap mine, perfection, if one of those does exist. To those who said that they had a feeling soap wasn't found in mines, the captain had ventured to suggest that perhaps that was because no one had looked hard enough, and this possibility had been reluctantly acknowledged. No, life was very pleasant, and the great thing about it was that when the hot spring was found, complete with leafy glade and sioux, and when in the fullness of time the cry came reverberating across the hills that the soap mine had been located and was producing 500 cakes a day. It would be more pleasant still. It was very important to have things to look forward to. Well, well, screech, well, howl, honk, squeak, went the bagpipes, increasing the captain's already considerable pleasure, the thought that any moment now they might stop. That was something he looked forward to as well. What else was pleasant, he asked himself. Well, some things. The red and gold of the trees. Now that autumn was approaching. The peaceful chatter of scissors. Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. Well, then, let's get back to it, shall we? A few feet from his bath, where a couple of hairdressers were exercising their skills on a dozing art director. And his assistant, the sunlight gleaming off the 6 shiny telephones lined up along the edge of his rock-hewn bath. The only thing nicer than a phone that didn't ring all the time, or indeed at all, was 6 phones that didn't ring all the time, or indeed at all. Nicest of all was the happy murmur of all the hundreds of people slowly assembling in the clearing around him to watch the afternoon committee meeting. The captain punched his rubber duck playfully in the beak. The afternoon committee meetings were his favorite. Oh, goody! Other eyes watched the assembling crowds. High in a tree on the edge of the clearing spotted Ford Prefect, lately returned from foreign climes. After a 6-month journey, he was lean and healthy. His eyes gleamed. He wore a reindeer skin coat. His beard was as thick, and his face was bronzed as a country rock singer's. He and Arthur Dent had been watching the Golga Fringens for almost a week now, and Ford had decided that it was time to stir things up a bit. The clearing was now full. Hundreds of men and women lounged around chatting, eating fruit, playing cards, and generally having a fairly relaxed time of it. Their tracksuits were now all dirty and even torn, but they all had immaculately styled hair. Ford was puzzled to see that many of them had stuffed their tracksuits full of leaves and wondered if this was meant to be some form of insulation against the coming winter. Ford's eyes narrowed. They couldn't be interested in botany all of a sudden, could they? In the middle of these speculations, she's a peep. Go away, Fog. The captain's voice is still there, it's like right here. Rose above the hubbub. All right, he said. I'd like to call this meeting to some sort of order, if that's at all possible. Is it all right with everybody? He smiled genially. In a minute, when you're all ready. Good Lord. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. The talking gradually died away, and the clearing fell silent, except for the bagpiper. You just can't get rid of the bagpiper, can you? Who seemed to be in some wild and uninhabitable musical world of his own. A few of those in his immediate vicinity threw some leaves to him. If there was any reason for this, then it escaped Fort Prefect for a moment. A small group of people had clustered round the captain, and one of them was clearly preparing to speak. He did this by standing up, clearing his throat, and then gazing off into the distance as if to signify to the crowd that he would be with them in a minute. The crowd, of course, were riveted, and all turned their eyes on him. A moment of silence followed, which Ford judged to be the right dramatic moment to make his entry. The man turned to speak. Ford dropped down out of the tree. Hi there, he said. The crowd swiveled round, like, who is that? Ah, my dear fellow, called the captain. Any matches on you, or lighter, anything like that? No, said Ford, sounding a little deflated. That wasn't what he'd prepared. He decided he'd better be a little stronger on the subject. Oh, I forgot to check. How's that? Let me turn it down just a smidge. No, I won't roll it. Pity, said the captain. We've all run out, you see. Haven't had a hot bath in weeks. Ford refused to be headed off. I bring you news, he said, of a discovery that might interest you. Is it on the agenda? Snapped the man whom Ford had interrupted. Ford smiled, a broad, country rock singer smile. Now come on, he said. Well, I'm sorry, said the man heavily, but speaking as a management consultant of many years' standing, I must insist on the importance of observing the committee structure. Ford looked around the crowd. He's mad, you know, he said. This is prehistoric planet. Address the chair, snapped the management consultant. There isn't a chair, explained Ford. There's only a rock. The management consultant decided that testiness was what the situation now called for. Well, call it a chair, he said testily. Why not call it a rock? Asked Ford. You obviously have no conception, said the man. Now abandoning testiness in favor of good old-fashioned hauteur of modern business methods. And you have no concept of who you are, said Ford. A girl with a strident voice leaped to her feet and used it. Up, you two, she said. I want the table in motion. You mean boulder emotion? The hairdresser. Order, yapped the management consultant. All right, said Ford. Let's see how you're doing. He plunked himself down on the ground to see how long he could keep his temper. The captain made a sort of conciliatory, harumphing noise. I would like to call to order, he said pleasantly, the 573rd meeting of the Colonization Committee of Central Weeks. 10 seconds, thought Ford, as he leaped to his feet again. Isn't that what you do? You, breathe in and out slowly for 10 seconds. This is futile, he exclaimed. 573 committee meetings and you haven't even discovered fire yet? If you would care, said the girl with a strident voice, to examine the agenda sheet. Agenda rock, shrilled the hairdresser happily. Thank you, I've made that point, muttered Ford. You will see, continued the girl firmly, that we are having a report from the hairdressers' fire development subcommittee today. Oh, said the hairdresser with a sheepish look, which is recognized with the whole galaxy over as meaning, will next Tuesday do? All right, said Ford, rounding on him. What have you done? What are you going to do? What are your thoughts on fire development? Well, I don't know, said the hairdresser. All they gave me was a couple of sticks. So, what have you done with them? Nervously, the hairdresser fished in his tracksuit top and handed over the fruits of his labor to Ford. Ford held them up for all to see. Curling tongs, he said. The crowd applauded. Bravo! Never mind, said Ford. Rome wasn't burned in a day. The crowd hadn't the faintest idea what he was talking about, but they loved it nevertheless. They applauded. Well, you're obviously being totally naive, of course, said the girl. When you've been in the marketing as long as I have, you'll know that before any new product can be developed, it has to be properly researched. We've got to find out what people want from fire, how they relate to it, what sort of image it has for them. The crowd was tense. They were expecting something wonderful from Ford. Stick it up your nose, he said. Which is precisely the sort of thing we need to know, insisted the girl. Do you want fire that can be fitted nasally to you? Ford asked the crowd. Yes! Shouted some. No! Shouted others happily. They didn't know, they just thought it was great. And the wheel, said the captain. What about this wheel thingy? This sounds a terribly interesting project. Said the marketing girl. Well, we're having a little difficulty there. Difficulty, exclaimed Ford. Difficulty? What do you mean, difficulty? It's the single simplest machine in the entire universe. The marketing girl soured him with a look. All right, Mr. Wise Guy, she said. You're so clever. You tell us what color it should be. The crowd went wild. Went up to the home team, they thought. Ford shrugged his shoulders and sat down again. Almighty Zarquan, he said. Have none of you done anything? As if in answer to his question, there was a sudden clamor of noise from the entrance to the clearing. The crowd couldn't believe the amount of entertainment they were getting this afternoon. In marched a squad of about a dozen men, dressed in the remnants of their Golgafrinchen 3rd Regiment dress uniforms. About half of them still carried Zillozap guns. The rest now carried spears, which they struck together as they marched. They looked bronzed, healthy, and utterly exhausted and bedraggled. They clattered to a halt and banged to attention. One of them fell over and never moved again. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound very good. Captain, sir, cried number 2, for he was their leader. Permission to report, sir. Yes, number 2, welcome back and all that. Find any hot springs? Said the captain despondently. No, sir. Thought you wouldn't. Number 2 strode through the crowd and presented arms before the bath. We have discovered another continent. What was this? It lies across the sea, said number 2. Narrowing his eyes significantly. To the east. Number 2 turned to face the crowd. He raised his gun above his head. This is going to be great, thought the crowd. We have declared war on it. Wild abandoned cheering broke out in all corners of the clearing. This was beyond all expectation. Wait a minute, shouted Ford Prefect. Wait a minute. He leaped to his feet and demanded silence. After a while, he got it, or at least the best silence he could hope for under the circumstances. The circumstances were that the bagpiper was spontaneously composing a national anthem. Could you imagine? How reckless and rude. Do we have to have a piper? Demanded Ford. Oh yes, said the captain. We've given him a grant. Ford considering opening this idea for debate, but quickly decided that way madness lay. Instead, he slung a well-judged rock at the piper and turned to face number 2. Roar! He said. Yes! Number 2 gazed contemptuously at Ford Prefect. On the next continent? Yes, total welfare. The wars end all wars. There's no one even living there yet. Ah, interesting, thought the crowd. Nice point. Number 2's gaze hovered undisturbed. In this respect, his eyes were like a couple of mosquitoes that hovered purposely 3 inches from their nose and refused to be deflected by arm thrashes, fly swats, or rolled newspapers. I know that, he said, but there will be one day, so we have left an open-ended ultimatum. What? And blown up a few military installations? The captain leaned forward out of his bath. Military installations, number 2? He said for a moment. His eyes wavered. Yes, sir, well, potentially military installments. All right, freeze. It was trees. The moment of uncertainty passed. His eyes flicked like whips over his audience. And, he roared, we interrogated a gazelle. He flipped his kilozap smartly under his arm and marched off through the pandemonium that had now erupted throughout the ecstatic crowd. A few steps was all he managed before he was caught up and carried shoulder high for a lap of honor around the clearing. Ford sat and idly tapped a couple of stones together. So what else have you done? He inquired after the celebrations had died down. We have started a culture. We've started a culture, said the marketing girl. Oh, yes, said Ford. Yes, one of our film producers is already making a fascinating documentary about the indigenous cavemen of the area. They're not cavemen. They're not. Do they live in caves? Well, they live in huts. Perhaps they're having their caves redecorated? Called out a wag from the crowd. Ford rounded on him angrily. Very funny, he said, but have you noticed that they're dying out? On their journey back, Ford and Arthur had come across 2 derelict villages and the bodies of many natives in the woods, where they had crept away to die, kind of like a dog does. That's sad. Those that still lived seemed stricken and listless, as if they were suffering from some disease of spirit rather than the body. They moved sluggishly and with an infinite sadness. Their future had been taken away from them. Dying out, repeated Ford. Do you know what that means? We shouldn't sell them any life insurance? Called out the wag again. Ford ignored him and appealed to the whole crowd. Can you try and understand, he said, that it's just since we've arrived here that they've started dying out? In fact, that comes over terribly well in this film, said the marketing girl, and just gives it that poignant twist, which is the hallmark of the really great documentary. The producer's very committed. He should be, muttered Ford. I gather, said the girl, turning to address the captain, who was beginning to nod off, that he wants to make one about you next, Captain? Oh, really? He said, coming to with a start. That's awfully nice. He's got a very very strong angle on it, you know. The burden of responsibility, the loneliness of the command. The captain hummed and hawed about this for a moment. Well, I wouldn't overstress that angle, you know, he said finally. One's never alone with a rubber duck. Oh, are you? I don't know. Hey, Vic, what's up? While reading Douglas Adams' The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, our guest for tonight got sick, so I had to come up with something, which is generally what we do on Sundays anymore. Alright. Cool. Yeah, I've really been enjoying this book series. It's been pretty cool, I must say. Zaphod cracks me up with his two heads and stuff. And I don't know. In my head, he has a southern accent, but I don't know. Alright, let's see. Okay. And just gives it that poignant twist. He should be, muttered Ford. I gather, said the girl, turning to address the captain, who was beginning to nod off. Oh, really, he said, coming to with a start. That's awfully nice. He's got a very strong angle on it, you know. The burden of responsibility, the loneliness of command. The captain hummed and hawed about this for a moment. Well, I wouldn't overstress that angle, you know, he said finally. One's never alone with a rubber duck. He held the duck aloft, and it caught an appreciative round from the crowd. All this while the management consultant had been sitting in stony silence, his fingertips pressed to his temples to indicate that he was waiting and would wait all day if it was necessary. At this point, he decided he would not wait all day. After all, he would merely pretend that the last half hour hadn't happened. He rose to his feet. If, he said tersely, we could for a moment move on to the subject of fiscal policy? Fiscal policy? Whooped Ford Prefect. Fiscal policy? The management consultant gave him a look that only a lungfish could have copied. Fiscal policy, he repeated. That is what I said. How can you have money, demanded Ford, if none of you actually produces anything? It doesn't grow on trees, you know. If you would allow me to continue, Ford nodded dejectedly. Thank you. Since we decided a few weeks ago to adopt the leaf as legal tender, we have of course all become immensely rich. Ford stared in disbelief at the crowd, who were murmuring appreciatively at this and greedily fingering the wads of leaves with which their tracksuits were stuffed. I don't know if you were here earlier, Vic, but yeah, everybody was stuffing their tracksuits with leaves, and Ford was trying to figure out what the heck they're doing. Are they trying to insulate it or what? But this is what I was thinking in the back of my mind. It's money. It reminds me of like being a kid and, you know, playing war and different things like that. But we have also, continued the management consultant, run into a small inflation problem on account of the high level of leaf availability, which means that I gather the current going rate has something like 3 deciduous forests buying 1 ship's peanut. Murmurs of alarm came from the crowd. The management consultant waved them down. So in order to obviate this problem, he continued, and effectively revalue the leaf, we're about to embark on a massive defoliation campaign and, burn down all the forests. I think you'll all agree that's a sensible move under the circumstances. The crowd seemed a little uncertain about this for a second or two, until somebody pointed out how much this would increase the value of the leaves in their pockets, whereupon they let out whoops of delight and gave the management consultant a standing ovation. The accountants among them looked forward to a profitable autumn. You're all mad, explained Ford. You're absolutely barmy. You're a bunch of phrasing nutters, he opined. The tide of opinion was beginning to turn against him. What had started out as excellent entertainment had now, in the crowd's view, deteriorated into mere abuse, and since this abuse was in the main directed at them, they wearied of it. Sensing it in the wind, the marketing girl turned to him.
"Is it perhaps in order,"
she commanded,
"to inquire what you've been doing all these months then? You and that other interloper have been missing since the day we arrived."
"We've been on a journey," said Ford. "We went to try and find out something about this planet."
"Oh,"
said the girl archly.
"Doesn't sound very productive to me."
"No? Well, have I got news for you, my love? We have discovered this planet's future." Ford waited for the statement to have its effect, for it didn't have any. They didn't know what he was talking about. He continued, It doesn't matter a pair of fitted dingoes' kidneys, what you all choose to do from now on. Burn down the forest, anything. It won't make a scrap of difference. Your future history has already happened. 2 million years you got, and that's it. At the end of that time, your race will be dead, gone, and good riddance to you. Remember that. 2 million years. The crowd muttered to itself in annoyance. People as rich as they had suddenly become shouldn't be obliged to listen to this sort of gibberish. Perhaps they could tip the fellow a leaf or two and he would go away. They didn't need to bother. Ford was already stalking out of the clearing, pausing only to shake his head at number 2, who was already firing his kilo zap into the neighboring trees. He turned back once. 2 million years, he said and laughed. Well, said the captain with a soothing smile, still time for a few more baths. Could someone pass me the sponge? I just dropped it over the side there. Chapter 33. A mile or so away through the wood, Arthur Dent was too busily engrossed with what he was doing to hear Prefect approach. What he was doing was rather curious, and this is what it was. On a wide flat piece of rock, he had scratched out the shape of a large square, subdivided into 169 smaller squares, 13 to a side. Furthermore, he had collected together a pile of smallish, flattish stones and scratched the shape of a letter onto each. Sitting more morosely around the rock were a couple of the surviving local native men to whom Arthur Dent was trying to introduce the curious concept embodied in these stones. So far, they had not done well. They had attempted to eat some of them, bury others, and throw the rest of them away. Arthur had finally encouraged one of them to lay a couple of stones on the board that he had scratched out, which was not even as far as he'd managed to get the day before. Along with the rapid deterioration in the morale of these creatures, there seemed to be a corresponding deterioration in their actual intelligence. In an attempt to egg them along, Arthur set out a long number of letters on the board himself, and then tried to encourage the natives to add some more themselves. It was not going well. Ford watched quietly from beside a nearby tree. No, said Arthur to one of the natives, who had just shuffled some of the letters round in a fit of abysmal dejection. Q scores 10, you see, and it's on a triple word score, so look, I've explained the rules to you. No, look, please, put down that jawbone. All right, we'll start again, and try to concentrate this time. Ford leaned his elbow against the tree and his hand against his head. What are you doing, Arthur? He asked quietly. Arthur looked up with a start. He suddenly had a feeling that all this might look slightly foolish. All he knew was that it had worked like a dream on him when he was a child, but things were different then, or rather would be. I'm trying to teach the cavemen to play Scrabble, he said. They're not cavemen, said Ford. Well, they look like cavemen. Ford let it pass. I see, he said. It's uphill work, said Arthur wearily. The only word they know is grunt, and they can't spell it. He sighed and sat back. What's that supposed to achieve? Asked Ford. We've got to encourage them to evolve, to develop, Arthur burst out angrily. Excuse me. He hoped that the weary sigh and then the anger might do something to counteract the overriding feeling of foolishness from which he was currently suffering. It didn't. He jumped to his feet. Can you imagine what a world would be like descended from those cretins we arrived with? He said. Imagine, said Ford, raising his eyebrows. We don't have to imagine, we've seen it. But, Arthur waved his arms about hopelessly. We've seen it, said Ford. There's no escape. Arthur kicked a stone. Did you tell them what we discovered? He asked. Said Ford, not really concentrating. Norway, said Arthur. Slartibartfast's signature in the glacier. Did you tell them? What's the point? Said Ford. What would it mean to them? Mean? Said Arthur. Mean? You know perfectly well what it means. It means that this planet is the Earth. It's my home. It's where I was born. Was? Said Ford. All right, will be. Yes, in 2 million years' time. Why don't you tell them that? Go and say to them, excuse me, I'd like to point out that in 2 million years' time, I will be born just a few miles from here. See what they say. They'll chase you up a tree and set fire to it. Arthur absorbed him happily. Face it, said Ford, these Zeebs over there are your ancestors, not these poor creatures here. He went over to where the ape-man creatures were rummaging listlessly with the stone letters. He shook his head. Put the Scrabble away, Arthur, he said. It won't save the human race because this lot aren't going to be the human race. The human race is currently sitting around a rock on the other side of this hill making documentaries about themselves. Arthur winced. There must be something we can do, he said. A terrible sense of desolation thrilled through his body that he should be here on the Earth which had lost its future in a horrifying arbitrary catastrophe, and which now seemed to lose its past as well. No, said Ford. There's nothing we can do. This doesn't change the history of the Earth, you see. This is the history of the Earth. Like it or leave it, the Golgafrinchans are the people you are descended from. In 2 million years, they get destroyed by Vogons. History is never altered, you see. It just fits together like a jigsaw. Funny old thing, life, isn't it? He picked up the Q letter and hurled it into a distant privet bush, where it hit a young rabbit. The rabbit hurtled off in terror and didn't stop till it was set upon and eaten by a fox, which choked on one of its bones and died on the bank of a stream, which subsequently washed it away. During the following weeks, Fort Prefect swallowed his pride and stuck up a relationship with a girl who had been a personal officer to Golgafrincham, and he was terribly upset when she suddenly passed away as a result of drinking water from a pool that had been polluted by the body of a dead fox. Oh no. The only morale it is possible to draw from this story is that one should never throw the letter Q into a privet bush, but unfortunately, there are times when it is unavoidable. Like most of the really crucial things in life, this chain of events is completely invisible to Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent. They were looking sadly at one of the natives, morosely, pushing the other letters around. Poor bloody cavemen, said Arthur. They're not. What? Oh, never mind, said Ford. The wretched creature let out a pathetic howling noise and banged on the rock. It's all been a bit of a waste of time for them, hasn't it? Said Arthur. Muttered the native, banging on the rock again. They've been out-evolved by telephone sanitizers. Insisted the native, continuing to bang on the rock. Why does he keep banging on the rock? Said Arthur. I think he probably wants you to Scrabble with him again, said Ford. He's pointing at the letters. Probably spelled again. Poor bastard. I keep on telling him there's only one G in Criggerimary. The native banged on the rock again. They looked over his shoulders. Their eyes popped. There among the jumble of letters were 8 that had been laid out in a clear straight line. Hi, Eva. Nice to see you. They spelled two words. The two words were these: 42. Isn't that the answer to the meaning of life? Good, explained the native. He swept the letters angrily away and went and mooched under a nearby tree with his colleague. Ford and Arthur stared at him. Then they stared at each other. Did they say what I thought they said? They both said to each other. Yes, they both said. 42, said Arthur. 42, said Ford. Arthur ran over to the two natives. What are you trying to tell us? He shouted. What's it supposed to mean? One of them rolled over on the ground, kicked his legs up in the air, rolled over again, and went to sleep. It was nice to see you, Vic. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry our guest was sick tonight, so, yeah. But I hope you have a lovely evening. You know what this means, said Ford. Not entirely. 42 is the number Deep Thought gave as being the ultimate answer. Yes? And the Earth is the computer Deep Thought designed and built to calculate the question to the ultimate answer. So we are led to believe. And organic life was part of the computer matrix. If you say so. I do say so. That means that these natives, these Eatmen, are an integral part of the computer program, and that we and the Golgofrinchians are not. But the cavemen are dying out, and the Golgofrinchians are obviously set to replace them. Exactly, so you don't see what this means. What? Look, said Ford Prefect. Arthur looked around him. This planet is having a pretty bloody time of it, he said. Ford puzzled for a moment. Still, something must have come out of it, he said at last, because Marvin said he could see the question printed in your brainwave patterns. But probably the wrong one, or a distortion of the right one. It might give us a clue, though, if we could find it. I don't see how we can, though. They moped about for a bit. Arthur sat on the ground and started pulling up the bits of grass, but found that it wasn't an occupation he could get deeply engrossed in. It wasn't grass he could believe in. The trees seemed pointless. The rolling hills seemed to be rolling to nowhere, and the future seemed just a tune, a freaking tunnel to be crawled through. Ford fiddled with his sub-ethos sensomatic. It was silent. He sighed and put it away. Arthur picked up one of the letter stones from his homemade Scrabble set. It was a T. He sighed and put it down again. The letter he put it down next to was an I. That spelled it. He tossed another couple of letters next to them. They were an S and an H. As it happened, by a curious coincidence, the resulting word perfectly expressed the way Arthur was feeling about things just then. He stared at it for a moment. He hadn't done it deliberately. It was just a random chance. His brain got slowly into first gear. Ford, he said suddenly. Look, if that question is printed in my brainwave patterns, but I'm not consciously aware of it, it must be somewhere in my unconscious? Yes, I suppose so. There might be a way of bringing that unconscious pattern forward. Oh, yes. Yes, by introducing some random element that can be shaped by that pattern? Like how? Excuse me. Like by pulling Scrabble letters out of a bag, blindfolded. Ford leaped to his feet. Brilliant, he said. He tucked his towel out of his satchel and with a few deft knots transformed it into a bag. Totally mad, he said. Utter nonsense, but we'll do it because it's brilliant nonsense. Come on, come on. The sun passed respectively behind a cloud. A few small sad raindrops fell. They piled together all the remaining letters and dropped them into a bag. They shook them up. Right, said Ford. Close your eyes. Pull them out. Come on, come on, come on. Arthur closed his eyes and plunged his hand into the towel full of stones. He jiggled them about, pulled out 4, and handed them to Ford. Ford laid them along the ground in the order he got them. W, said Ford. H-A-T, what? He blinked. I think it's working, he said. Arthur pushed 3 more at him. Doy? Oh, perhaps it isn't working, said Ford. Here's the next 3. Oig, doyog. It's not making sense, I'm afraid. Arthur pulled another 2 from the bag. Ford put them in place. E.T. doyoget? Do you get? Shouted Ford. It is working. This is amazing. It really is working. More here, said Arthur, as he was throwing them out feverishly as fast as he could go. If, said Ford, you multiply, what do you get if you multiply 6 by 6 by, what do you get if you multiply 6 by 9? 6 by 9? He paused. Come on, where's the next one? That's the lot, said Arthur. That's all there were. He sat back nonplussed. He rooted around again in the knotted up towel, but there were no more letters. You mean that's it? Said Ford. That's it. 6 by 9, 42. That's it. That's all there is. Chapter 34. Oh my goodness. How long is this one? Oh, we're there. We're at the finish line. Woot woot. The sun came out and beamed cheerfully at them. A bird sang, a warm breeze wafted through the trees and lifted the heads of the flowers, carrying their scent away through the woods. An insect drone passed on its way to do whatever it is that insects do in the late afternoon. The sounds of voices lilted through the trees, followed a moment later by 2 girls who stopped in surprise at the sight of Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent apparently lying on the ground in agony. In fact, rocking with noiseless laughter. No, don't go, called poor Ford Prefect before gasps. We'll be with you in just a moment. What's the matter? Asked one of the girls. She was the taller and slimmer of the 2. On Golga Frensham, she had been a junior personnel officer but hadn't liked it much. Ford pulled himself together. Excuse me, he said. Hello. My friend and I were just contemplating the meaning of life. Frivolous exercise. Oh, it's you, said the girl. You made a bit of a spectacle of yourself this afternoon. You were quite funny to begin with, but you did bang on a bit. Did I? Oh, yes. Yes, what was all that for? Asked the other girl, a shorter, round-faced girl who had been an art director for a small advertising company on Golga Frensham. Whatever the privations of this world were, she went to sleep every night profoundly grateful for the fact that whatever she had to face in the morning, there wouldn't be 100 almost identical photographs of dearly lit tubes of toothpaste. For nothing. Nothing's for anything, said Ford Prefect. Come and join us. I'm Ford, this is Arthur. We were just about to do nothing at all for a while, but it can wait. The girls looked around them and at them doubtfully. I'm Agda, said the tall one. This is Mela. Hello, Agda. Hello, Mela, said Ford. Do you talk at all? Said Mela to Arthur. Eventually, said Arthur with a smile, but not as much as Ford. Good. There was a slight pause. What did you mean? Asked Agda. About only having 2 million years? I couldn't make sense of what you were saying. Oh, that, said Ford. No, it doesn't matter. It's just that the world gets demolished to make way for a hyperspace bypass, said Arthur with a shrug. That's 2 million years away, and anyway, it's just Vogons doing what Vogons do. Vogons? Said Mela. Yes, you wouldn't know them. Where'd you get this idea from? It really doesn't matter. It's just like a dream from the past or the future. Arthur smiled and looked away. Does it worry you that you don't talk any kind of sense? Asked Agda. Oh my. Listen, forget it, said Ford. Forget all of it, and nothing matters. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy it. The sun, the green of the hills, the river down in the valley, and the burning trees. Even if it's only a dream, it's a pretty horrible idea, said Mela. Destroying a world just to make a bypass. Oh, I've heard of worse, said Ford. I read of one planet off in the seventh dimension that got used as a ball in a game of intergalactic bar billiards. Got potted straight into a black hole, killed 10 billion people. That's mad, said Mela. Yes, only scored 30 points too. Look, said Agda, there's a play after the committee meeting tonight. You can come along if you like. Yeah, okay, said Ford. I'd like to, said Arthur. Many hours later, Arthur and Mela sat and watched the moon rise over the dull red glow of the trees. That story about the world being destroyed, began Mela. In 2 million years, yes. You say it as if you really think it's true. Yes, I think it is. I think I was there. She shook her head in puzzlement. You're very strange, she said. No, I'm actually very ordinary, said Arthur, but some very strange things have happened to me. You could say I'm more different from than differing. When that other world your friend talked about, the one that got pushed into a black hole? I don't know about that one. Sounds like something from a book. What book? Arthur paused. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he said at last. What's that? Oh, just something I threw into the river this evening. I don't think I'll be wanting it anymore, said Arthur Dent. Don't panic. There's more to the Hitchhiker's Guide. Read the complete series. So we've gotten through the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, then the restaurant at the end of the universe. The one we're going to be starting next week is Life, the Universe, and Everything. So that's going to be awesome. On that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our second music break. And on this break, we have, once again, Mr. Jeff Hilliard from Los Angeles, California, with his 80s sort of ballad that's called Abandoned. I think it's funny. It's like a modern day Weird Al Yankovic sort of music. I don't know, they call it satire, I believe. But yeah, he cracks me up. Like I said, when he first approached me with that Multitude song, I thought he was jacking with me, but he's pretty dang cool. And then we have Miss Mia Savage from Arizona with her group Antidote for Savages. She's the only one that does the lyrics, the music, everything. She's like a cute little tiny Trent Reznor. And she's going to be singing The Bottom Line, Your Skeleton, and Lemurian Crypto. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
Left here alone, just a shadow of my erection on the wall. Why won't you answer my calls? I gave you
always a choice. No saving too much.
Just a choice right now between fear and love. Right now, between fear and love.
Welcome back, my paranormal peeps. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight with me on Weird Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. It's been pretty awesome. We finished the second book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. Tomorrow I'll be picking up the next book in the series. I've been so tempted to purchase it. That way I have my very own, but alas, how many times do you read a book? You know, you can watch a movie repeatedly. I have read a couple books repeatedly because you actually kind of miss things the first time, and then you pick them up the second time. But anyways, I'm going to present to you a video, and this is going to go over our time limit, but hey, Salvi, let's do this. All right. So, this video is by Mindseed TV. Mindseed TV. I don't know why it's not coming up here. But these guys are pretty dang awesome. Let me just make sure my sound and everything is working. Okay, I'm good there. Over here. Oh, no, gotta go back to this one. Testes. 1, 2, 3. Yep, looks good. Looks good to me. Let's do this, shall we? So yeah, this guy, and I don't know what happened to the rest of the group. He's just been doing stuff on his own recently with Mindseed TV. I don't know if they had a falling out or what. But I just recorded 73 UFOs in my own backyard last night. Sounds like my backyard. It's intense. But let's get into this, shall we?
2 more. 3 more. Look at them all. Look. I'm not tripping right now.
Last night, I recorded over 50 strange UFOs in the sky from my own backyard. Now, I edit videos of UFO sightings all the time, but this was the first time I ever saw anything like this. So here's what I'm gonna do. In the first half of this video, I'll go through each sighting one by one, the breaks in between each time that I saw one appear. Then in the second half, I'll play the entire clip raw, no edits, so you guys could experience exactly what I encountered minute by minute, and you guys could witness it exactly the way that I saw it. Take a look at this.
So it's like 2:30 a.m. in the morning, and a second ago, there were 2 of those moving at the same, just one. Look, there's 2 more now. What the hell are those?
And those aren't airplanes.
Those are not airplanes, I know that. I am positive about that. And now they just disappeared. Yeah, it's back again. There.
What is it doing?
And then it burns out. It's just gone.
Yeah, it blinks out.
There it is.
That one was like a burnout. All traveling the same direction? Excuse me, makes me wonder. Is it going towards an airport because the ones I see in my backyard? Or the direction of the airport? Or heading towards the airport? Why? Whoa, that one is trippy. Look at it. Holy shnikes. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Truly amazing, I must say.
Alright, so my first thought was probably the same as most of you. I thought maybe this had something to do with SpaceX. Starlink ever send multiple satellites down at once? I really don't know, but that was my initial thought. But then they just kept coming. They kept appearing. Seriously, you have to see this to believe it. Just keep watching. It gets nuts.
There's another one. Look at that. Tell me what that is.
That's a
It's not a SpaceX
UFO.
launch. These are all coming down. And this has got to be like the 8th, 9th, maybe. Look, there you go.
Yeah,
There's another
the
one.
SpaceX launch is grippy looking.
What
and
is
then
that?
one day, straight down my driveway, up above me, I'm getting out, grabbing groceries, and there's the SpaceX
I'm not leaving
freaking
until
train,
this
like
completely
satellite
stops.
after satellite after satellite, going
It's like there's a bunch of them traveling behind
across
each
the
other.
sky. It was intense.
Look, there it is. There's one. Alright, those are clouds. This time, got some clouds. Look, there's another one. It just appeared.
That's
I'm telling you, these things are just coming in out of the sky right now.
What just happened? Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. Don't be a hero. No. Hero? Sorry.
Say
This
goodbye to
hasn't
old,
happened
costly
before.
cable TV once
Hell
and for
no.
all. This revolutionary
Look,
invention gives you access to your favorite channels and movies completely free of
I'll have to
charge.
go back to the
Greedy
actual
cable
page.
corporations are trying their best.
They are greedy and they suck.
Is it
Generally,
normal
when I
for
watch a
SpaceX
video
to
from
have,
an email, it doesn't do this, but that's
6 or 7
pretty
rockets
interesting.
landing at the same time, like returning from orbit? Look, those are the two back there. You see them?
Hello,
there is
my
another
space
one.
fan. Oh yeah,
there's
it's
two
just
of 'em.
dimmer.
What the f*** are those? That one too.
And they're all going the same direction.
They're going down.
Where are they going? Wow.
Look, there's another one. See, that's not the same because now that one's way up above the tree line, and it just popped
It's
up.
brighter.
Just showed
It's
up.
kind of like that
Look,
one that was tumbling earlier.
Look at this.
That is so odd.
You guys, I'm actually seeing the shit that everyone else has been posting videos about now. These are like the same kind of orbs just coming down from the fucking sky. I make videos about this shit, and now I'm actually seeing it for myself. Look. Boom. Another one. That's not the same one that was down below the tree line. Look at that.
Pretty sure they're spies. I think the space.
So at this point, I was
orbs-
trying to figure out which direction they were coming from and which direction they were going, and it seemed like they were all entering our atmosphere, or at least first appearing north to northeast, and they were all kind of heading in an eastern direction, and that's where they would end up fizzling out at. East from me is over the
going
ocean,
west.
so why would they all be heading there? I really don't know, but keep watching because that's not all. There's a couple really cool moments coming up. Check this out. So f***ing weird. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit and see if any more come.
Yeah. This is interesting. And intriguing. Hey, what's up? Hey, Drifting. No, check this out. Like, oh.
It's descending. It's coming
It
down.
is. They're everywhere. It's so scary. Hey. We got 2 tubers and 1 Twitch. And who knows what else beyond that? You can't
2
really
more.
tell. Isn't
3
that
more.
crazy?
Look. There was one just now at the bottom. I don't know if you guys would be able to catch it. I saw it. Oh, look. Look at them all.
There's 3
Look.
up there.
I'm not tripping
Triangle
right
formation.
now. There's 3 in a triangular shape. Look at that.
I just said that, dude. Yeah. Trippy.
What the f?
That's what I'm saying. What the Fraggle Rock?
So the triangular shape, this is a type of sighting that many people have reported and documented, but if you look closely at this last clip, 3 of these objects formed a perfect triangle for a few seconds. They moved at the same speed, they kept a perfect distance apart, and I remember thinking, all right, this is probably going to die out soon. No. Watch what happens when an airplane passes by.
Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?
Okay, that might be a plane going by, but you're in the wrong area, bud, if you're an airplane flying through there, because
yeah, you're gonna see something.
there's some shit
maybe
coming through that is not airplanes. Like that right there, coming down.
Yeah.
Right near the airplane. Look at that. That blinking light is more than likely a plane, but look at, here comes one. Is it gonna f up the airplane?
Oh, holy shit! It looks like that UFO is kind of tracking it, or following it, like you said.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
There's
Why?
another one. Come to check it out. Holy shit.
What? Hey, Jay! Yeah,
So
I
in
just
those
saw
last few
this
clips, you
video.
can see an airplane passing by, as I mentioned, on camera while filming. But at this point, there was no mistaking these for airplanes. These were not airplanes.
Okay, so I just wanted to pause for a second. Do you remember that one video where, okay, not only was the orb tracking or following the aircraft, but then it started circling around it, and all of a sudden that thing happened and the plane disappeared? That to me is very strange because I don't think they ever found evidence of that aircraft. Did that aircraft go into a different dimension or something? I don't know, but it's pretty trippy. That, along with Boeing and their track record and everything else, I don't want to fly anywhere else ever again.
Airplanes. You could totally see the difference. Clear as day, a singular plane was flying through the hot zone of where all these things were coming into the atmosphere, and one lit up literally right above it. It was moving downwards towards the plane. I thought it might actually collide with the airplane. And then another one lit up down below it, and it actually looked like it started flying upwards and like in the same direction as the plane. So my thought was, were they interacting with the airplane? Did they happen to see it and move in that direction? I couldn't tell.
So.
But then again, what were they? Now, in the next few clips, you're gonna see some really strange movements from these objects. Watch closely.
Just kidding.
One. Two of them, 3 of them. See the one down there? And then gone. I don't know what that is. There's another one up there. Look, that's a new one. Right there. Can't tell me. It's the same ones over and over again because they're all going down behind the tree line. There's another one coming out with it, look. This is nuts.
Oh, yeah, you want some clones? We could probably work on that. Adrian, you never know.
There's 3.
We could.
There was one down there by the house. There was 2 up here. The bottom one's fading, the top one's still lit.
When I worked at, I think it was Triple S Realty or whatnot, some guy came in. He's like,
2 more.
don't you work over here, blah, blah, blah? I'm like, no.
One going down behind the
I've
tree.
only worked over here and doing housekeeping and stuff. And he's like, you have a twin, and she's right down the road, which is weird because generally,
quick.
if you have a twin,
One of them went left, and then the other one
miles
just popped
apart,
up and like
that
went
was,
around it.
That was pretty interesting.
That one's going down, and the other one went right. Holy.
I need to put a video together of my pics and videos.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Just disappeared. disappear really quick though.
Get you now.
Did you see the way that they just suddenly shifted? I mean, if it's not strange enough seeing over 50 of these floating in our orbit, how do you explain this?
Oh no, don't do this again. This is the first time this has ever happened to me as far as commercials, but maybe it's not. Maybe the family's back and they're messing with the internet. I don't know. Oh, what is that?
You're doing manifestation wrong, and I can prove it. I see so many people getting this wrong. They try to manifest.
One literally maneuvering around the other one. It's like one swung low and the other swung high. It shifted away. It was unbelievable, honestly. And if I wasn't witnessing this with my, I probably wouldn't have believed it myself.
Oh my god! Fucking Sentry Stingray, I hate you! Sorry. Count to 10. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
What? I saw this on July 16th, 2024 in South Florida. And I'm not the only one that saw it. One of our viewers reached out and asked me about it. And I'll share a quick snippet of our conversation after these finish. But what's that? They're not done yet? No, they're not. There's more. Look.
Look at these!
And it's clearly moving. I mean, I'm zoomed in like times 10, so
not
it's hard
fast,
to keep the
whatever,
camera
they're
still.
just cruising.
But
cruising along.
you can see it moving.
Fading out. As they do.
Another one. Two more.
What the frack, man? Really? What the frack, man, Pac-Man? This don't make any sense. No cordial sense. It's funny because, like, the very first ones I got from my backyard, I was just taking pictures of the full moon and the electric blue color that the moon was putting off. It's unnatural. I'd never seen anything like that before, and I've been watching
this
the
is
moon
getting uploaded for sure.
since I was a
There's
kid.
two right there. One of them's really dim.
You know, I'm kind of blind. You know, I need spectacles for distance. But, so the very first one, cloud right by the moon, there's a circle of these freaking dwarves. I call that one the conference in the sky, and then later on, going south, they're all tucked along the clouds and shit. One of them looks like the singer from the Grateful Dead. The cloud, it was weird. Maybe it's God, I don't know. But no, they're all tucked around the edges of the clouds, and I know they're not that close. How they even know to do that? Or how is it like that? But yeah, I'm gonna have to put something together to show you guys, because that is pretty trippy.
So the next day after witnessing all of these in the sky, I was showing everybody I knew, asking them, have you ever seen anything like this? Nobody had an answer. And then suddenly the same day, the day after the event took place, I get an email from a guy named Tyler. Tyler lives in South Florida as well. And this is what he said. Fan of Mind Seeds since the Dark Web Mystery Box days. And thank you very much, Tyler. I appreciate that. I had an experience of seeing multiple UFOs last night while walking my dogs. There was like 20. I captured the clips on my phone, and I was wondering if I could discuss them with you, or maybe I could send the videos directly to you and you could check it out. I responded and told him that I also live in South Florida and I witnessed the same exact thing. Considering it was so late, I didn't really think many people would have seen it, but he assured me that I'm not crazy. He also said he captured his own footage of the event. So I'll see if there's a way I can get that file over, and it'd be really cool to share it with you guys to see this from another angle. Maybe he had a better view than me, but he captured the same thing the same night. That to me is nuts. So before I play the entire clip for you guys, I also need to mention that as I was heading inside the house and I thought that these were completely done, I did notice one more thing in the sky. I thought it was a star, and then I noticed that it was slowly moving in one direction. So I started filming it. It literally looks like it took off and went out of our atmosphere around the same time that I captured all of these entering our atmosphere. Take a look at this.
Okay, and like I'm saying, like with the first ones I captured from my backyard, like I said, they first appeared as orbs. There's red, green, white, I think yellow and blue. and they're all in a circle on a cloud. And then I saw them in shuttle form. So it looked like could be individual shuttlecraft, but it's so far away. It could hold several, but it was like a cylinder in the middle and then two little boosters on the side. And whatever way one was facing, the others would. Kind of like a military whatever. When you're in formation, and you guys do the same pose or same shape or same direction, whatever. And then as they went away, they went back to orbs, and then they blinked out. So this is pretty cool. I love this. Now they're playing ass grabber games. What is this music? It's kind of tribal. It's kind of tripping me out.
And now for those of you who want to see it minute by minute how I captured it exactly last night, no edits whatsoever, I'm going to play the entire clip right now. By the way, have you been keeping count? If not, don't worry, I got you. Let's see how many that we've captured so far right now. And please let me know in the comments, because I've never seen anything like this before. If you have any idea what you think this could have been, let us know. Thanks for watching. And here's the entire footage from last night. No cuts.
So it's like 2:30 a.m. in the morning.
No cuts,
and a
hide your
second ago,
butts.
there were two of those moving at the same pace. Now there's just one.
Oh, I blinked out. And that's a cable cord holding down the power line, right? Or is that a power line bypass? What the fuck is that? I don't know. I don't care. It's gonna blink back soon. You know
There
it.
it is.
And that reminds.
Look,
Oh, there
okay,
we
look,
go.
there's two more now.
Hi.
What
Welcome.
the hell are those?
That one's about to
And
fade
where
out.
are they coming from?
They're scanning. That's what I think.
Those
like
are
they're
not
scanning
airplanes, I know that.
The Earth. This
I am
is where the
positive about
human
that.
beings are. This is where we're going to zap and kill them, or whatever the crack they're doing.
And now they just disappeared.
Yeah. But it was like after that first sighting I had, I didn't see it with my own eyes, but when you go through your pictures as a photographer, you're just like, what is this anomaly? Not only is there one, there's several. And so that's
Weird.
when I saw them, because like I said, at a distance,
and then reappeared.
my vision sucks. But going through the pictures and stuff, like you could see the craft there and the different positions, like they're either up or forward or over here or down. They were all doing the same thing. And then the very last one I caught, they look like Tic Tacs. Who knows what the crack it is, but two during the day, and they're, if you look up in the sky, they're like this far apart, which is probably like, would that be like a football field or what? But they're just floating along, like,
back
no
again.
fuck care.
Yeah.
First one blinks out. Second one just kept going. And then all of a sudden this military jet comes and circles around it, and that's when the second one disappeared.
It's just gone.
That's when you know, like,
See if it
this
comes
shit is
back.
real. Otherwise, the government ain't gonna mess with this. Oh, it's a weather
Planes
balloon.
don't do
Let's
that.
send our... Right. Who knows, dude? And Egyptian music? Where's that? FDA warning me about contaminated rice. Yeah. And I guess I need to grow my own rice? Okay, how do you do that unless you have like a water patch? How do you grow your own rice? And as far as like watermelons, tomatoes, guacamole, etc., and they're all like rubbery and fake, and now they're making fake meat? Dude. We all have to eat. We're not all farmers or producers. Like, man, we're up against some really bad stuff, but I'm prepared. Got my chickens. I got my asshole cock out there, fucking Bob Ross. you know, I used to love Bob Ross when he was a painter, but as a rooster, I'd like to rip his head off, but I'd rather trade him for a Polish hen, if you know anybody that has. So, Raz Farms. Guess what? You can actually put, what are they called? Those fighting fish. Well, the timer's is getting in the way. They're like Chinese fighting fish, and they actually grow up in the marshy places where rice is grown. I want to say algae. It's not. Algae is a plant form. Betas are grown in rice farms. How do they survive if they're so violent? Do they just, you know,
There's two
hide
of
in
them
their own
traveling together and
quadrants?
then they disappear. Like the same time, and there's no clouds. It's not disappearing behind clouds.
If I worked at a rice farm, I'd want to
there's
work
two
at
right there
Uncle
together.
Ben. That one is so bright and brilliant. Is it because it's so close, or what? What is happening?
What is that?
I freaking hate you, CenturyLink. I'm going to go to Frabra. I'm going to count to 10. Come on, nobody's here. And CenturyLink is like, oh, it's because there's too many people on your router. Nobody is here. What the crack are you talking about? Give me a new fucking router. Why am I leasing one unless you're going to send me one that works? I'm going to have to call them tomorrow. Because this is fucking redonkulous, dude. Fucking redonkulous. Come on. This is bullshit. Wow. This is amazing. Here, let me just turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone. Maybe that'll help. Are you fucking serious? That's fine. I'm going Ethernet. I'm done with this shit. Are those little kitty cat heads? You're laughing and then little kitty cat heads? That's cute. Why is it still doing this? It shows a full-fledged, like, the whole thing is big. Jesus Cristo. Right. I was about to, you know.
Weird. I don't think those are the same two I just captured either. Those two went way further than that, and then those two appeared over here.
Right.
It's like there's a bunch of them traveling behind each other.
Isn't it funny how the car alarms keep going off too? Like, what's causing that? Clickety, 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 clack. It's like, are they on different planes where they're scanning? And
right,
just like Google
clouds.
does, they're scanning.
Look, there's another one. It just appeared. I'm telling you, these things are just coming in out of the fucking sky right now. Is it normal for SpaceX to have like 6 or 7 rockets landing at the same time, like returning from orbit? I don't know.
I don't think so.
But that's what it seems like is going on.
Damn it all.
I'm gonna look just for another minute because 2 of them went below the tree line, so if there's another one that lights up here in a second, then it's not the same.
I just knocked over my drink. Like a dumb ass.
Look, those are the 2 back there, you see them? Oh, there is another one. Look. Look, there's 2 of them. What the f*** are those?
I'm saying, dude, seriously.
That one too. It's going down.
What's going down? That's what I want to know.
Weird.
It is weird. Super weird. Clear up this mess.
It's 2:30 a.m. right now, so I don't know.
I just did it.
Weird SpaceX activity
Big ol'
takes place
baby.
at 2:30 in the morning, but I swear I just saw about 4 to 6 different orbs just coming down from the sky. Look, there's another one. See, that's not the same, because now that one's way up above the tree line, and it just popped up, just showed up. Look. Look at this.
I'm tell for this shit. Sorry, guys.
You guys, I'm actually seeing the shit that everyone else has been posting videos about now. These are like the same kind of orbs just coming down from the fucking sky. I make videos about this shit, and now I'm actually seeing it for myself. Look. Boom. Another one. That's not the same one that was down below the tree line. Look at that.
What comes last? What the heck is going on? Hello?
Home Depot hates when you do this, but they can't stop you. The performance pressure device has the cleaning power of a military-grade fighter jet's propulsion system. And its unprecedented success is leaving big box stores like Home Depot, Amazon, and Walmart in the...
Letting me skip. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some of it in it. Skip. Thank you.
So f***ing weird. I'm gonna stay here for a little bit and see if any more come.
God dang it.
Yeah? Down there?
Total disappointment.
See it?
Yep. I see it.
It's descending. It's coming down.
Ass, right? So they have this new one out recently, and it's like fiber optic, so it's supposed to be really good. And then there's Starlink.
2 more. 3 more. Look.
But it's really expensive.
There's
it's
one just
like
now at the bottom. I don't know if you guys
$100 per month.
would be able to catch it. I saw it.
I can't afford that shit.
Look at them all. Look.
To do this.
I'm not tripping right now. There's 3 in a triangular fucking shape. Look at that.
Right?
What the fuck?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, now I'm one of those people saying, what the fuck? Because I can't explain what those are.
Jan, I hate Century Stink.
Did NASA
Those
or
guys
did
need to go,
SpaceX just recall, like,
you know, to themselves.
every fucking Starlink satellite in orbit to come back down to Florida, or what?
Right back, I gotta go hit the head real quick. Hopefully you guys don't get any more commercials.
Look, there's another one. There's another one. Look at that. Tell me what that is. It's not a SpaceX launch. These are all coming down. And this has got to be like the 8th, 9th, maybe. Look, there you go. There's another one. What is that?
I'm not leaving until this completely stops. It's been persistent now. It's been going on consistently for about 10 minutes. Every like minute or so. Look, there's another one. Look. See it? Two of them. One by the cloud and one coming around the power line right now. Check that shit out. And it's clearly moving. I mean, I'm zoomed in like times 10, so it's hard to keep the camera still. But you can see it moving. Another one. Two more. heading to the same location. Coordinated? Absolutely. Where are they going? That's the question. At this point, I'm almost certain there's going to be more. I've already seen like 20 of them. They just keep coming.
Well, it's just freaking weird. And like I said,
There's one there.
where are they going? It's not cheap. It's like 60 something, almost $70 per month. That ain't cheap. Where are they going? What are they up to? That's what I wonder. What are you guys doing?
What the fuck is that? Two more.
Time for dinner. Just kidding.
One going down behind the tree. It just changed directions. Look at
That's
that.
creepy enough.
Yo,
Well, that's
those
where
two
that
just
did.
moved crazy quick. One of them went left, and then the other one just popped up and like went around it.
Maybe
That
he's
one
driving
going
too
down,
slow.
and the other one went right. Holy shit.
Man, I wish I could see it closer. Zoom in.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Just disappeared really quick though. Unbelievable. Another one coming out from behind the tree.
Yeah, and it's really not under the tree. It's just, it looks like it. Right. Straight down.
Look.
I guess you
Look,
can
there's one there.
work with what you got, but there's a lot of weird shit going on out there, Adrian.
Two.
Let me turn this down because it's hard to see. Isn't it funny how they fade out like that?
And then gone just like that. And you can't say that it's like going in and out of clouds, because even if it was, I got stars all over right here. I don't know if you can see them. Hang on. Like those are all stars, right? But these are moving.
Yeah, I'm not
And they're
seeing what
not
you're talking
stars.
about, dude.
Like, this light right here is messing up the view, but
Yeah, obviously.
whatever is
not a
appearing
star.
out there is multiple.
Oh, man. Hello? Hello? What are you doing? Oh my
Multiple
gosh.
objects. It's not just the same ones like coming in and out of clouds. Look, there's another one behind the tree. Did you see it?
Oh, yep, there he
There it
is.
is.
I just broke another sandal. It's great. I need some more shoe glue so we can fix these, because I ain't buying any more sandals for this summer. I've got 3 pairs, all broken. I'm done. Where did it go? It went behind that line, now I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
Okay, that's
Are you sure
might
that's
be a
not a
plane
plane?
going by, but
Yeah, that's a plane, the way
you're
it's
in the
blinking.
wrong area, bud. If you're an airplane flying through there, because
Move
there's some
along.
shit coming through that is not airplanes. Like that right there, coming down. Right near the airplane. Look at that. That beacon light is more than likely a plane, but look at, here comes one. Is it gonna fuck up the airplane?
It's following the airplane very closely, I might add.
Is it following it?
What the crack? It is.
That's crazy. There's another one.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
check it out.
spirituality or energy or cloaking
Holy
devices. So they're there. And like I said, like the last one I saw, there was two. And they're like, okay, when you look in the sky, they're this far apart, which is probably a football field if you look at it in reality. And then this one in the back blinked out. I'm like, oh wow, why'd that one blink out? And this one just kept going. Slowly but surely, then all of a sudden,
So that right
this
there,
military
I'm pretty
rocket
sure
showed
is
up
an
and
airplane, the
it
one that's
blinked out,
blinking,
then
going
it
by.
blinked back in.
But everything
So,
else, like that,
it's weird.
not a plane.
I do believe, you know, we all have souls. Trees, plants, dogs, cats. We all have energy, light, souls, etc. So like you're saying, they have their own spirituality, so they disappear. No, I think they're trying to protect their asses. Or there's something they're doing that is regimented. About you, but crickets, you know, you're used to hearing them at night. Sometimes you hear them during the day, but it's kind of that recording that eventually puts you to sleep. So I'm just like, stay awake, bitch. 100%. Sheesh. Yeah, I freaking hate Century Stint, dude. And I did sign up for Ethernet, and it's supposed to be like 20 times better. Could you imagine, like, no interruptions or anything? And I've been talking to Century Stink about getting my router replaced because I'm leasing it. And they're like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with your router.
Right now, but it's over 20, I think,
people
at
on
this
your
point.
router. That's why he's doing this. Nobody's here. I'm the only one on it. What the fuck? Even my phone is not on Wi-Fi. It's just my one and only computer. I would call them right now, like, or right after the show if I could,
idea
but
what that is either.
there's nobody in the office at this point. I'll have to wait till tomorrow when I'm home so I can do the shit they want me to do to the router, but I'm so freaking over it. Century Stink has just left a really nasty, musky taste in my mouth, and I don't like it. Century Stink. Did you hear about that new plan to build a moon train track thing? It would go from Earth to the moon and then around. Like, what?
I thought that was a plane.
Dream
Saw a
big
flash over here, and it stopped.
and have big dreams, but no, dude, that ain't gonna work. Especially with all the space junk and everything. No way, dude.
They might be done. Whatever that
They
was.
could be.
Crazy.
You never know, dude. Maybe they're taking highest and they'll pop up like 3 at a time. Fing, fing, fing. I don't know. I'm just guessing. And if it does happen, I'm going
let's
to
go
be
count and
very
see how many we
surprised because I
captured.
haven't seen it.
That was a lot. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. We're not done.
There's another one. He's a bright little feller. Oh, yep, there's another one. Where's number 3? Fling, fling, fling.
And I thought we were done.
Well, that's why you don't get paid for thinking, right? If I did, I get paid overtime because that's what keeps me up is thinking. I overthink. Think. Like, shut up, mind. Let me go to sleep. Oh, I see another one. Hello, little fellow. Look at him, he's so cute and tiny. Marvin the Martian. It's just like paranormal investigation, like it's few and far between. A lot of it is monotonous and you're just waiting around and joking around with your friends. I find when you're joking around you laugh, that actually attracts attention instead of those like, you know, dildo baggins that are just like, you little bastard. No,
one down there by the
laugh,
house.
have positive energy.
The bottom one's fading,
Who's
the top
attracted
one's
to
still
negative?
lit.
Demons and shit? Okay. How about let's use some positive energy, negative energy, demons and shit, positive energy, perhaps good spirits. I don't know.
No, that one's gone.
I'm just taking a stab at it. Not kind of just want to.
That is some wild shit.
Crickets in it. I think that could help with my tinnitus. Otherwise, or tinnitus, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't know. Instead of listening to Let's Read or whoever else, just listen to crickets and fall asleep, cause pretty good siren music there.
Something just flashed out there.
I was about to say, oh, there it is. I was about to say, is there anything else? 60. Okay, and he said 73, so we have 13 more to go.
The right spot.
That spot, right time, let's go.
There's another one.
That one's moving pretty fast.
It's gone. Just like that. There's another one.
Blink. It's like, is there a portal or something that they fly into, or what? Do they just hit warp speed so you can't see them? What the crack are they doing? How are they doing that?
There's another one up top coming down.
I concur.
Where'd it go?
What is that? A truck or something? Yeah, it's getting quieter. Get the fuck out, dude. You're messing up the sound.
There's like...
Don't mess up my crickets.
Helicopter or something that way.
Helicopter, helicopter, helicopter.
In the distance. But whatever it is that we're looking at is not helicopters.
Oh, was
I know
that a
that.
lamppost?
I can hear a helicopter. I don't see one.
Maybe sometimes they don't fly with their lights on, which should be illegal. They should have flashing lights. I think one on the front, two on the side, and one or two on the back. Oh, could you imagine, like, there's a guy in Las Vegas that films UFO activity all the time, and he's actually filmed them going over houses and putting a beam down, and then the beam comes back up, and then they go away, and then they come back and release whoever the flak that they captured at that point. That's cute.
All the gear to go back in style. Welcome to your Walmart.
With these freaking commercials. You dirty bastards. Here we go. Alright, let's go. Let's go. 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 Nothing listens to me, not even my kids.
Oh, we got 2 more. Gone.
Which part is strange? People are strange when you're a stranger.
There's one.
Kirk? You believe? Sugar.
2.
Oh, all of it, yeah. Truly it is. And then people are like, oh, it's Project Bluebeam. And I saw something the other day where they have this little discus and they're holding it in front of them and there's this little aircraft or UFO or whatever like floating around and I'm like, oh yeah, our whole sky is this freaking discus stuff and that's why we're seeing these things. No, I don't think so. Fact is indeed stranger than fiction, I must say. You can't make this shit up. Kirk! Knock it off, dude. Okay, so what's the last number we left off on? 60. Are we at 63 at this point? Why are you focusing on this roof? Well, like I was saying, like the UFO Las Vegas thing. It'd come down, it'd go, and then you see a light come up, then they go away, then they come back and go, like put the person back? What are they doing? Alien abductions? Why? And I do know, like, from what my kids told me, like the aliens did try to abduct them and luckily, Floyd jumped off, because then Lily followed in suit. I think I see one in the sky right there. Or is that a star? What is that? Lion Seed. Did you see that? Right there. Is that Saturn or Venus? We're at 70. It's like when you least expect it, it's there. And so I love the fact that back in the day, you had to run back in your house, grab your camera, come back out, take pictures. Now you have a camera, whether it's still or video, on your phone. So it's much easier to capture stuff. It's just like really hard when you're freaked out to try to get into it sometimes. Very first time I saw one in my backyard, that's how I was. I was like, come over here, you guys. Like, I can't get my camera to work, and you guys need to see this.
I wish that you guys watching would subscribe. There we go. 2 more.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Oh, there's one up there, too.
3 more.
Oh. Yeah, and a third one. What? Well, they seem to disappear in the same hemisphere. Dad. I remember when doing overnight security, I was just like, oh my god.
The UFO chief, the chairman of Harvard's astronomy department as well, both releasing a report on Tuesday where they wrote an artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth.
What the hell is that? Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's for real. Oh my god, what the hell?
You see that?
I did see that, and that was crazy. But, anyways, unfortunately, that's the end of our video. I want to, like I said, like put my pictures together and my videos and share that with you. And, you know, I've been gathering different addresses as far as like Casper site and other people in MUFON, of course. If you have alien or UFO interaction, you should let MUFON know. I used to think, oh, it's just a part of the government and I don't trust them, but I've met several people from MUFON. My girl's trying to call me. Anywho's, thank you so much for joining me tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. And thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, KPNL Radio, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, wherever else beyond the Omniverse you're listening tonight. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again next weekend. We have the Paranormal Forum, then another story time. So that means we're on to the third book of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So I'm super looking forward to that. But don't forget, we are all in this together. Together, we can make the world a bit better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media because without you, there is no us. Until next time, nighty night, love and light. Please don't work too hard and please don't take life too seriously. Yes, take care of, your fam and things you need to. Like recently, I've been canning and jarring like my granny used to, but I want food that will last me, that I know what's in it. I'm going to grow it on my own. I'm going to do it. But yeah, I look forward to next weekend, and thank you so much for joining me and checking out these videos, etc. Like, it's been pretty amazing.